Hello and welcome back. This is Digital Publishing Online, and I'm Lisa Gabrielle. And we are going to continue on with our development of our type variations book. And I left off in the last video where we were creating multiple master pages, and I'm going to continue doing that here in this video. So where we left off, we brought this text in on each one of our master pages, and we change some information on each master page based on the phase that we're working on. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, select this master here. We're going to generate another duplicate. So right mouse click on that and hit duplicate. And notice here that it gives you a duplicate with a generic name. So we're going to click on that and we're going to right mouse click and go to master options. And we're going to rename this one 3. And what is phase 3? Phase 3 is, let's see, phase 3 is, I can't remember what phase 3 is. Phase 3 is size contrast. Okay, so we'll call this size. Oops. And I don't know if you can put a space in here. I don't think so. Again, we're not using this. Yeah, you can. Okay, so now over here, I'm going to double click, make sure I'm on that master. Okay, it's highlighted in blue. And I'm going to change this to 3 size. Oops, contrast. Now it looks like this one's going to break, so I might go like that and break it because the other ones were shorter words, but I may break this one a little bit differently. I spelled that there. Okay. All right. And that's my third one. So I'm just going to go ahead and you can watch me. I'm not going to explain what I'm doing for the next 6, but I'm going to go ahead and create all 6 of them here. And you can just watch, and maybe in the process of watching me, you'll pick up on something you may have missed in the last 3 that I just created. I don't think it's a bad thing to just watch the screen and watch what I pull down and where I go. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate, double click. All right, so I'm on that master, and then options and rename. So this is going to be 4, and let's see, what is 4? 4 is diagonal. Diagonal. Okay. Okay, once again, I'm going to duplicate and double click, make sure you're on that master, and this one's going to be freeform. So options, we'll call this 5, and this will be called freeform. Okay, and then right mouse click duplicate, double click, make sure you're on that master, freeform, rules. So I'm just going to give this a short name, and what I have recommended students call this is graphic elements, just for a shorter name than rules, bullets, and field value. You can call that graphic elements. It says it right here. I'll call this graphic elements. Okay. And oh, okay. I also am forgetting to change. I'm going to go back through the 3 that I just created, and I'm going to change this to read diagonal. Diagonal. And I believe I'm going to bring it up there. So it'll be diagonal. And then over here, we'll call this freeform. Okay, and this is going to be graphic elements. Okay. Oh, and this is 5. This will be 6. This will be 5. This will be 4. Okay, not size control. Okay. All right, so we're getting these settled here. And let's duplicate this one and double click it, make sure. All right, this is going to be color, phase 7. So I'm going to option, master options. This is 7. We'll call this color. Okay, and then we'll come down here and we're going to change this to color. Okay, and I'm going to bring it up on one line there. Okay, and for our final phase of the book, double click it. We're going to go to master, and this is going to be called 8 and photos, photography, or you can call it or artwork, but I'm just going to call it photography because most people end up using photography in here. Okay, and then down here I'm going to change this to 8 and photography. Okay, it looks like that's too long to be up there, so I'm going to break it down on the second line. Okay, all right. So at this point, what you should do is probably save your document just in case something happens. You don't want to lose your work. All right, so now you've got yourself set up where you've got 8 master pages. And if you go back and look at the finished one here, you're kind of like in line with what this student did here. Okay, all right. But nothing's happening down here yet. Okay, so again, going back to your project handout, and looking. So I'm going to go ahead and enlarge this a little bit. So it says here for each phase, all right, you're designing 3 pages. One page is a 1-column design, 1 page is a 2-column design, and 1 page is a 3-column design. So that means for each phase, you're going to create 3 pages. Okay, so that's what we're going to do over here. What I might suggest you do is create these pages as you work through your phases. Although in this demonstration, I want to show it to you as you create them, you know, as I create each one, just because it's a demonstration. But I think it would be best suited for you while you're working on this to create the pages when you get to that phase. But just for purposes of this demo, I'll show you what you're going to do here. Is right now, looking down here at the bottom half of this pages window, you have this kind of like grayish bar here. Anything below that are considered your actual physical pages. Those are the pages that will print. Those are the pages that'll show up in PDFs. Okay, so right now we just have 1, and it's based on my 1 master. And how do I know? It has a number 1 here. I'm also going to make these a little bit bigger so that for this I'm going to go to jumbo so you can see this. Okay, so we've got a 1 here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and grab the 1 alignment master, and I'm going to drag down 2 more pages here. Okay, now at this point, if I was working on this, I would just go in and I would design my compositions for this phase. And how do you go about doing that? Well, first of all, you want to make sure that you're not on the master, because once you get into actually producing the designs for these pages, you actually want to physically be working on your pages down below here, down below this gray bar. Okay, you only were up here to create your master pages, and we worked up here for a while, but now we're finished up here and we're going to come down here. So a couple of things I want to talk about when you're on the actual physical page and you start designing. The first thing that you're going to want to be aware of is, in the event that you want to modify something that's on a master page, how do you get to that element? Because right now, when I'm on an actual physical page, if I go over here with my get my selection tool here, and I try and click on something here that's on my master, I can't select it. I can't select anything here. Okay, it's not letting me. Let me go ahead and turn the guides on too so you can see here. It's not letting me do anything here. So I'm going to turn on my frames. However, I want to edit this information because um, based on my design, I have to edit this information per page. So in order to break items from a master, you have to hold down a series of keys, and I believe it's Command Shift. Yes. So you have to hold down Command Shift on the Macintosh, and I'm sorry, you guys will have to figure it out on the PC. Oh, wait a minute here. Maybe I have a cheat sheet here for the PC. I think it'd be Alt Shift on the PC. Yeah, I got my little cheat sheet here. But don't quote me at that. I might be wrong because I don't have that actual keyboard in front of me. But on the Mac, it's Command Shift. I have a little cheat that gives. Okay. So now down here, I can go ahead and I can change things like, for instance, if I wasn't using Helvetica here, maybe I was using Times. I could change that to Times. After I do my design, I may have developed my design using flush left copy, flush right copy, centered copy, or justified copy. You would want to indicate that here. Now, let me just give you a little tip here on identifying this information. I gave you a handout in the classroom that looks like this. And at the bottom here, there's a section, let me go ahead and zoom up on this, called Other Terms to be Familiar with. And right here under, oh, I'm sorry, not other terms to be familiar with, but the formatting type section right here. It gives you acronyms for different things that you may do in a layout. Like for instance, whenever you have flush left copy, I would refer to it as FL. If you've got rag right copy, I would refer to it as RR. If you're justifying your text, just put a J. If you're using flush or rag left copy or flush right copy, just put FR or RL. Okay, so when you're filling in the information back here on your label for your justification, if it's flush left copy, just place an FL in there. Or if it's flush right copy, you'll put FR. If it's centered, for centered, I believe over here, it's a C. So just put a C in there. So I'll come back and I could change this to a C. Okay. And then the column, this is my one column design. And then this is going to be whatever point size I'm using. So right now, I haven't started that yet, so I don't know. So some of this information is kind of unknown at this point until you design it. The next thing you want to break from the master is this text over here because you're going to want to move it into your active area here. So again, Command Shift on the Mac to break that text. Grab your move tool and let's move it over here. Okay. All right, now I just remembered something. So what you're going to need to do, we're going to need to go back. And again, this is something that happens all the time. Oops, something happened to, okay, okay. I accidentally moved my label out of the way. Okay, moving this in here. Accidentally moved my label out of the way. Notice here that you've placed this on your grid here, and actually your grid is locked because it's on the master, so you don't have to actually worry about moving it. So we're going to leave it alone. Okay. All right. So what I would suggest at this point is that you break apart this text, and the most common text blocks right now, just looking at this text, are going to be a block for your headline, a block for your subhead, and then one block for all your body copy. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to break the text apart and create 3 blocks from this text. So getting my cursor here, I'm going to select this first block and I'm going to cut it, Command X, and then I'm going to make a block over here and I'm going to paste it. Okay, and I'm going to do that again with this subhead, Command X, and I'm going to paste it into here. Okay. Now, in order to be real creative and in order to get more options and have more possibilities with your designs, you're going to have to break this text into more blocks. Like, for instance, you might look at it and you might think, well, I kind of have an idea of maybe I want some kind of scenario. Like, for instance, let's see, let's take a look at what he has done in his. Let's go to a sample here. Okay, so here's his first one, his very first design, and he has one text block, two text blocks, and three text blocks. So he started out with three text blocks, although he's doing some interesting indenting here using his spacing. Okay. Now, if we scroll down to the next composition, it looks like he's using two text blocks where he's got this in one and he's got these in two separate text blocks. So you can kind of see the more you break out your text into different types of text blocks, the more options you have. If I scroll down here, this one, he's got all his text back into one text block. Oops. And it's now set up as three columns, and then he's got a text block there and one there. However, I believe when as he starts working through this, you sort of see how he's breaking this into four text blocks here. So based on your designs, you're going to have different amount of text blocks. So I showed you here how to easily do that. If I wanted to break this into paragraph text blocks, like let's say I wanted this, let's see, these two to be one, Command X. So I just cut them out and paste them in a text block. Maybe I want these lines to be in another text block and I paste those in a text block. And maybe I just want this one in a text block and I paste it in a text block. So now, okay, that I've got these in separate text blocks, I can actually move these parts around. So I could put that over here if I wanted. I could put this over here, lining it up with the grid. I could put this over here, lining it up with the grid. Now, one thing as you start working with these type blocks, okay, on your first, I think, two, at least, let's see, let me go back and look at the instructions here. Okay, yeah, phases 1 and 2. On phases 1 and 2, you have to use the same point size for everything. You do not have the option to change the point size until phase 3. So in other words, right now, the point size I have, okay, sorry. I just had a mute and I think this video is getting a little bit long, so I'm going to stop here and we'll pick up on another video.